Morning, friends. Welcome to this talk on the rules of golf 2019. We're all golfers and we're all very, very keen to know as to what has happened over a period of time. What are the changes? Why the changes? And more importantly, how does it affect our game? Is it difficult to understand? Is it easy to understand? How many changes are there? How many rules changes are there? Which are the most important ones? What is it that we use in our day-to-day game? These things will just go on forever. There's no end to it. And I was wondering, as to where to start from. If you start, do I start from bunkers? Do I start from penalty areas? Do I start with the ball? Do I start with the golf course? So I said, no, let me just try and explain to them as to what the rules are, what the structure of the rule is. And today's discussion is totally on the structure and an overview of the rules of golf as published by the ruling bodies, the RNA and the USGA, which went to effect from 2019. That's what we are following now. So today's total discussion is just going to be on the overview and the structure of the rule book and what it really covers. You must understand that there are no shortcut to rules. If you know what to look for, what the situation is, where it happened, why it happened, only then can you really apply the rule and get to the correct ruling. If you do not do that, you'll just be hunting for answers and trying to find out what should be done. There are plenty of ways to get around that. And the first and foremost thing is that what will be published for 2019? There were 73 new definitions of the game that have been introduced now. Remember, if you run through the definitions and go through them thoroughly, that will solve 50% of your problems as to what a definition is, what the situation means, what this particular occurrence happens. For example, a ground under repair, an obstruction that's movable, immobile, a loose impediment. What's the status of a loose impediment? What can I do with it? All these answers are there for you in the definitions. Please go through the definitions. The definitions have increased. New definitions have come in from the 73 definitions that we had in the 2018 rules to 73 now. The rules themselves have been shortened from 34 rules to 24 rules. We have 24 rules now compared to the 34 that was earlier. And one of the reasons for this is that a lot of decisions have come into the rules, and a lot of rules have been clubbed together. For example, in the earlier rules in 2018, when we spoke of cleaning a ball and a dropping procedure, there were separate rules covered under Rule 20 and Rule 21. They are now covered under one rule in abnormal ground conditions, which is Rule 16, which also includes immovable obstructions. And this has been done for the simple reason that the procedure for taking relief from either of them is pretty much similar. The book has been written in 9 sections compared to the 11 that were there earlier. And what is very, very important now is that behind every rule, there is a purpose which tells you as to what the whole rule is all about. This purpose was never there in the earlier editions. It's there from 2019 onwards. And also in between, there are changes to the rules that have been highlighted. This is for your easy reference as to what should be done. Now, what's going to be published in 2019? We have the rules of golf, which is available now from your own pro shop, from your club, or from the IGU. And there's the rules of golf, the players edition, which all of you must carry with you. It's a very, very small book. Let me show it to you. That's what it is. This is the rules of golf. Carry it in your bag, put it in your suitcase. And in your suitcase means not to keep it at home, in the suitcase that you carry to the club. And this particular little edition is a very friendly version. It's not a very legal language it's written in third person. It tells you as a player as to what you should do. It addresses it as you, making it more friendly for you to use. And it tells you, if you do this, this is what will happen. If you don't do this, This is what will happen. Very, very easy to understand and quite simple to apply the rules. Please carry a book with you. For the slightly more serious golfer, we have this. This is the rules of golf, which, if you do not want to carry the thicker version, this rules of golf is much, much more in detail compared to the smaller one, the rules of golf. So we have 2 books out here. And finally, we have an official guide to the rules of golf. It's no more called the Decisions book, which was there earlier. It's there now called the official guide to the rules of golf. And this was what we had earlier. This was the decisions on the rules of golf that we had in 2018. It's been changed now to the official guide to the rules of golf. And this is what the referees and the committee members and people like me use to get their whereabouts on a golf course or in any given situation. One of the reasons why it's no longer going to be called decisions is the fact that most of the decisions and the rulings will be found in the rule book itself. You don't have to really go through such a thick book to find out what you're doing, where you're doing. And it's only, a lot of decisions have also been incorporated into the rules now. You'll find a lot of decisions there in the rule book. And that's why, they just helped us out with a couple of interpretations, which they feel, in terms of difficulties, we could just refer to this and see as to how to get away about this. Like I said earlier, the most important thing is to learn what the definitions of the game are. There are so many words, so much terminology has been introduced. There are plenty of new definitions that have come up, and these are very, very important for you to understand and learn. That will help you out on a golf course. Remember, rules are always there to help you out in any given situation. You should be able to take advantage of the rules in the right way. If you do not do that, you might go around swinging a club, you might go around touching your toes and being fit and getting that perfect swing, but you're going to end up with penalties if you do not know exactly what to do on the golf course. As important as your swing, as important as your fitness is the knowledge of rules. There are a lot of new definitions which have been introduced. We've got a ball marker, which has come into effect from this particular 2019 onwards. We have something known as the boundary object, which tells us what the nature of the boundary is. This could be a fence, it could be a wall, it could be stakes. And then there is a new term called conditions affecting the stroke. This is a very big umbrella term. And this term is something which covers a lot of issues, which was earlier, improving your area of intended swing and stance, which is totally covered under Rule 13. That now comes under conditions affecting the stroke. For those of you who do not know, we know that there are new procedures to drop a ball. So that's explained to you quite in detail. And then there's relief from an embedded ball, how to improve or how not to improve conditions that exist on a golf course. What is the lie of a ball? And then what are the natural forces? Why did the ball move? Is it because of natural forces? Did you cause it to move? Then there are no-play zones, which was, earlier the environmentally sensitive areas from which play was prohibited. And all these issues are covered under the no-play zone, where you're allowed what are you supposed to do when your ball is in a no-play zone, and what is the status of that no-play zone? Is it a ground under repair? Is it a penalty area? And then we have something known as a reference point and a relief area. Now, these two definitions, that of a reference point and a relief area, is going to help you one hell of a lot during the entire round of golf that you play until you continue playing golf. Because the reference point is now the relevant point from which you are going to take relief, either a penalty relief or a free relief. And the relief area is the area within which you are going to drop a ball. Right? So these two terms are very, very important. Reference point, a relief area, get to know them, get to understand them. There are a lot of modified or renamed definitions also which have come into effect from 2019. We have a new terminology now for an abnormal course condition. This was called an abnormal ground condition. Now we have something known as the abnormal ground condition plus the removal obstruction, which is covered. Water hazards and other areas which are marked as such. The committee is now authorized to mark areas which they think could be defined as a penalty area. What was earlier known as the water hazard, that can be defined as a penalty area. This is also something which is new. Through the green is now the general area where most of your golf is going to be played from. And we have an integral object which defines the integral parts of the course, an outside influence that defines or replaces your outside agency. There is no longer a stipulated round. It's just a round of golf. The word stipulated has been deleted. We are now only talking about a round of golf wherever we go. Again, when we come back to the teeing area, and keeping it in mind about the relief area that I spoke about earlier, the idea is to keep it as consistent as possible. We are talking more about areas now. You're never going to drop a ball or place a ball now. You're going to only place a ball at a specific point. Otherwise, it's always going to be an area within which you're going to drop a ball. The wrong putting green is now a wrong green. And those are some of the definitions that one must understand. And keep reading at it. A couple of definitions a day should ease you out on the golf course. The structure of the book, The Rules of Golf, is now divided into 9 sections. The fundamentals of the game, which covers rules 1 to 4. It's the basic fundamentals of the game as to what the game is all about. The etiquette, we shall speak about etiquette and the course conduct in more detail a little later. Playing the round in a hole is covered in Rule 5 and 6. Playing the ball is covered in Rules 7 to 11. And there are special rules for bunkers and the putting green, which is covered in Rule 12 and 13. Lifting and returning a ball, which was earlier Rule 20, is now covered under Rule 14. There are free relief under Rules 15 and 16. Free relief is basically from immovable obstructions. And then you have a penalty relief, which is covered in Rules 17, 18, and 19. And there is a special section on what the committee should do during the conduct of a game. We leave that to the committee. And then, of course, Rules 21 to 24. There are other forms of play, such as the stable four and against bogey, the new concept involved called the maximum score, and then your 3-ball, 4-ball, and these are the other forms of play that have been introduced. Now, the basic structure of the game, if you can go through it in a little more detail, is what we find is that, the fundamentals of the game. This covers the game, the player conduct, and the rules. That's Rule 1. Rule 2 covers the course. Rule 3 covers the competition. And Rule 4 covers the player's equipment. All these are very, very important rules covered under Rule 1. And just to let you know, at this stage, I'm going to introduce you to the very first new rule change for 2019. You go to any golf course, wherever you play, I'm sure you're going to find placards and signages telling you, take care of the golf course, replace your divots, repair those pitch marks, don't litter the golf course. I keep seeing it everywhere. The greenkeepers strive their might to get a golf course in shape for all of us to enjoy the game on. But somehow this is an aspect that's not looked into by all of us. We must take care of the golf course that we play on. We must repair those divots. We must take those bunkers. We must leave the golf course in as good a condition, if not better, than the one that we found it in. Do not disturb players when they're about to make their shots. Do not have any kind of disturbance on the green. Sign your scorecards. Drop the scorecards into the box and return them, compulsorily after every round. Small things, but very, very important. And the etiquette part has now become a part of the rules of golf. The committee at its discretion now, approved by the ruling bodies, can make a local rule wherein for a breach of the conduct of etiquette, they can disqualify you, they can penalize you 1 stroke, they can penalize you 2 strokes, depending on how serious the breach is. These are things which normally nobody tells you, but these are things which must be done. We must take care of the golf courses. So before we go any further, please make sure, please take it that you must, and I repeat once again, must look after the golf course wherever you play on. Playing the round and a hole is pretty simple. Playing the round is covered under Rule 5. Playing a hole is covered under Rule 6. And then we move on to the third part of the structure, which is playing the ball. And this covers the situation of a ball that is in play. You have a ball search, finding and identifying a ball, which is covered under Rule 7. You have the course played as it lies, Rule 8. The ball played as it lies, which is Rule 9. A ball at rest, lifted or moved, that comes under Rule 9. Preparing for and making a stroke, advice, help, caddies. This is covered under Rule 10. And a ball in motion that is deflected by either a person, an animal, or an object, that's covered under Rule 11. I'm, highly fascinated with the first paragraph of the rules of golf. When I took up the game a good 20 years back, when, I picked up a rule book, and the first thing that I read was, play the course as you find it, play the ball as it lies, and if you can't do either, then do what is fair. And to do what is fair, you must know the rules. And that is something which is stuck onto me. I keep reading it every day, and I like that. Make it, a part of what you people also do on the golf course. It is very, very important. There are special rules for bunkers and putting green, which are covered under Rule 12 and Rule 13. We know a lot of changes have taken place on both these fronts, and we shall cover those in more detail when we get to that. And one of the most important rules, which I spoke to you a little time earlier, is regarding lifting and returning a ball into play. When you lift and return a ball into play, it's either when you have your ball on the putting green, or you're lifting the ball to take relief from situations when you cannot play the ball as it lies. What are these situations? There could be situations wherein you get a free drop. There could be situations where it is a penalty drop. And in such cases, there are procedures which must be followed. Otherwise, you'll end up incurring a penalty for no rhyme or reason other than the one from which you are seeking relief. So there is a procedure for the ball, such as marking the ball, lifting the ball, cleaning the ball, replacing the ball, playing the ball which has been placed or dropped in a wrong place. And playing from a wrong place could end up with a serious breach of the rule. And if not corrected in time, could even lead to a disqualification. So it's very, very important to know that these matters are looked into. Simple matters, make it a habit, a routine, as you keep playing along. We next move into the sixth portion of our structure, which is free relief. There is free relief, and you drop a ball from such situations, which I just told you about. Relief from things that you can move, such as loose impediments and movable obstructions. This is covered under Rule 15, and movable obstructions also include your ball marker that helps or interferes with play, and relief from things that cannot be moved. It's a situation where you move your ball away from them. And these are the abnormal course conditions, including the immobile obstructions, which I spoke to you about. There are dangerous animal conditions and relief from an embedded ball. Another terminology that we have changed, which again, people do not seem to realize or know the difference, is that a lot of changes have taken place in this particular front. And that is our section number 7, Rule 17. That is relief from penalty areas. It's the penalty relief, earlier called the water hazards, and the committee has now authorized us the ruling bodies have authorized us to mark golf courses in such a way that, if a ball goes into a penalty area, the relief is quick. A player can proceed under the option of proceeding under the penalty areas. There is the stroke and distance relief, a ball that is lost or out of bounds. Again, these are all penalty areas. A provisional ball is played for a ball that could be lost out of bounds, and then the unplayable. These are all penalty relief situations from which you take relief. If you notice one thing, again, the entire importance of the concept of the new rules of golf has been done to increase, to speeden up the game. It's a universal problem all over the world, and golfers are finding it extremely boring and frustrating to find out that it's an extremely slow game. Therefore, make sure that we have this pace of play issue going on, and that's one of the main reasons for a lot of changes. Even your main reason for dropping a ball, for example, when you're dropping a ball from knee height, A is that the ball is being dropped from a lower height, lesser chances of the ball not rolling away from where you dropped it, and then the area is pretty vast for which the ball to come and rest in. And that's your one club length. You have the half moon or the quarter moon, depending on what kind of a situation you are in, from which you take relief and you continue with play. There are procedures for the players and committee as to what to do when you are in doubt. There are issues wherein nobody does it, but I find it a very, very rare occurrence, even at the club level, wherein if there is nobody to help you out with the ruling, and especially in stroke play, you try and play two balls and then talk to the committee, and they will perhaps give you the right decision. When this is not possible, the rulings by the referee and the committee, could send that matter up to higher authorities, get a proper ruling in case of more complicated issues, and then get back to you. It seldom happens, but the basic idea is to try and speeden up play. In fact, the rule book now recommends that you play a shot within 40 seconds or less. How many of you do that? Can't hear?
Yeah, participants won't be, sir, able to answer because their audio is muted.
Okay, done. Right, okay.
You can carry on, sir.
Yeah, okay. So I was just saying that the new rule now that has come up into effect is that, you have 40 seconds within which to play your shot. And this is something which must be done. 40 seconds is a lot of time. What happens is that the game has slowed down quite a bit with people carrying yardage books, and it's a new form of play. They want to be exact, they want to be precise. They don't realize that in the process of doing so, a lot of time is consumed. Then you have umpteen practice swings, and then the coaches have told them that before you hit a ball, you must sip a glass of water. So all this is part of the 40 seconds within which you must play your shot. Pace of play is a rule by itself. If there is a breach of a rule, there is a penalty. Why is it that we don't impose, or why is it that we're not more stricter on pace of play issues? These are matters of grave concern, not only at our level here. It's a level, all over the world, wherein pace of play is a very, very serious issue. And people are finding out ways and means to try and see how best we can get around this issue of pace of play. There are a lot of other forms of play which are introduced under rules 21 to 24. We have the stable forward, we have the maximum score, which I just referred to some time back. You have the par bogey, you have scramble, you have the alternate ball. These are all different formats just to make the game that much more interesting. Of course, we have team competitions, the foursome, which is also known as the alternate shot, and the four ball, which is covered in rules 21 to 24. Okay, are people getting bored?
No, sir, you can carry on.
Okay, right. I also told you that there is a purpose statement behind each and every rule. There's a purpose as to why the rule is written in such a way, and why there's been why are they covered in a particular way. To understand this purpose statement, it's some of the subsections also have a purpose statement explaining to us to what the reason for the statement was, and these are fairly simple to understand and very simple to adopt and follow. There's also a scope and a reasoning as to why this has been introduced. For example, in the very first rule that we spoke about, this was a purpose statement of the game, the player conduct, and the rules. Rule 1 introduces the central principle that the game of golf. It should be, you play the course as you find it, play the ball as it lies, play by the rules and in the spirit of the game. Now here, we talk about the spirit of the game. The new rules come into effect. The new rule changes that have come into effect from 2019. You see, there's a lot of player integrity now. Players have to be much, much more honest with themselves with all that they do, because there's no question of people coming and questioning you. For example, if your ball, let us say, is cut or damaged, or you think it's embedded, you no longer have the necessity to go and tell your fellow player that I'm checking my ball to see if it's damaged or whether it is embedded. You can do it on your own. You have to be honest with what you're doing. And if the ball is, of course, damaged, you know what to do. If it is embedded, you know what to do. There are penalties if you do not mark the position of the ball, because you have to replace the ball in such a situation. Therefore, you must mark the ball before you do. There could be a procedural penalty rather than anything else in doing this. Now, it also says that you are responsible for your own actions. You are responsible for applying your own penalties. And therefore, it's very, very important that you know what you are doing. Make sure that you're absolutely above ground and give everybody the opportunity to see you doing what you're doing, especially when you're lifting a ball or putting it back into play. The course introduces us to the basic things that every golfer should know about. Otherwise, you'll be wondering as to what has happened. There are 5 defined areas of the golf course which we should know. And the first one is where you start your game from. That's called the teeing area. The teeing area, of course, is that little rectangular piece of land that's available to us from within which you're supposed to start your game. It's true club lengths in depth. There is a big difference between the teeing ground and the teeing area, right? Teeing area is within which you're going to play your ball from. Teeing ground is the entire area within which the committee has the options to start the round. The general area is the area from which you play about 90% of your golf from. Then we have bunkers, which calls for a different skill level from players, just to add a little bit of difficulty to the game. There are penalty areas, which are so strategically placed, once again, to get the skill out of you. And then we have the putting green, where the rules on the putting green are so much different than the other parts of the golf course, because this is the only area of the course wherein you're rolling a ball rather than playing the ball through the air, right? Therefore, rules on the putting green differ to what happens on the other areas of the course. Remember, you're rolling a ball along the ground on the putting green, whereas on the other areas, you're hitting a ball through the air. Okay.
Can we take questions, sir? Or you should carry on?
Is there any questions? I don't mind answering that.
Yeah, actually, we have got a few questions.
Yeah.
5, 6 questions are there.
Okay.
So the first question is, what's the new handicapping system changes?
See, I'm more into the rules of golf rather than the handicapping part of it. The handicapping part of it does not concern us. But to answer this, we have a special handicapping team, and we can send you an email as to what the new changes are.
Okay. So there is a question from Indrajit, sir. He has written, what is the slope play rule, both for the tour as well as general?
You can tell Indrajit that the slope play does not, pertain to him. I think he's the fastest player on tour. So you can give him a small little medal. Anyway, the tour, a lot of tours have different pace of play policies. It's not something which is rigid and says that you must do this and you must do that. Each committee has, got its own discretion to do what you want. The rule book says that you must play a shot within 40 seconds. And on our tour, on the PGTI tour and the Asian tour, and I think even on the European tour, what we have is, if you're the first to play, you have 50 seconds to play a shot. The subsequent guys normally play a 3-ball. The subsequent guys, as player number 2 and player number 3, have to play the shot within 40 seconds. Now, so it's 50 for the first guy, 40 for the second guy, 40 seconds for the third guy. If you take into consideration that, the player has, and this is only when the player is ready to play. Now, when you say the player is ready to play, it means that the player should walk up to the ball, have no disturbance in terms of, being able to play. Should there be any obstructions or loose impediments, he has got sufficient time to remove those, any other disturbances. The moment that, there's no disturbance, no nothing, that's when the clock starts. 50, 40, 40 on our tour. And I think that's what the IG also does. And as per the recommended rule of the amateur golfer, as far as the rule book is concerned, play your shot within 40 seconds or less.
So what happens when a player ball comes in the rest in the bound next to the out of bounds stake which interferes the stance without penalty? What to do?
That's an out of bounds stake. An out of bounds stake is something which is integral. It cannot be moved. If you have no shot, your only option is to take a penalty relief and play. There is no other relief from a penalty stake or any object that defines the out of bounds. So the out of bounds, sorry, not the penalty stake, I'm talking about the out of bounds. So out of bounds stakes cannot be touched since they define the out of bounds. Now, if by mistake you happen to touch that out of bounds stake or move it, thinking that you'll have a much easier shot if the out of bounds stake was not there, the rules now permit you, as for the 2019 rules onwards, you can replace that stake before you play the shot. There will be no penalty. If you don't do that, then you will incur a penalty. So either play the ball as it lies or take a penalty relief.
We are moving to the next question. Caddies in club tournaments give line from behind the hole allowing a player. Is that allowed from behind or it's not allowed?
That is not allowed. We will cover that issue a little more in detail when we come to it. Again, this has got to do a lot with pace of play and also the fact that, the ruling bodies have decided that, golf is a game where skill is involved and lining up yourself to your target is one of them. Therefore, there will be no alignment help from anybody, whether it's your caddy, your partner, or anyone behind you. It's something that you've got to do on your own.
Yeah. The next question is 40 seconds to a shot you have mentioned earlier. So whether it's average of a round or what is that?
It is not the average of a round. See, the average of a round is the time that you're given a lot of time to play the round. When you sit down and analyze for yourself, there could be situations where you are waiting for a ruling, for a referee, so you do not know what to do. So you lost time in that. But the fact is that after you've lost time and the referee gives you a ruling, you don't take 10 minutes to play a shot. You got to play your next shot within 40 seconds. So at the end of it, when there's a ruling in front of you, there's a ruling 2 groups ahead of you, there could be a lot of weight on the golf course, because of which play can become a little slow. But when it becomes slow, it doesn't mean that just because you are waiting on the golf course, you are going to take that much extra time to play your shots. That is not permitted. You have 40 seconds is 40 seconds when it is your turn to play. That's what matters.
So what is golf course slope rating? Does it affect by the rules by any way? Can we get a free relief if the ball is in the bunker hole by a rat or a dog? That is another question. The first question is, what is golf course slope rating? Does it affect the rules by any way? This is the first question.
No. Your first question of golf course rating has nothing to do with the way the rules have been formatted. Rules are rules by which the game is played. They govern play. What the slope rating is, whether it's an easy golf course or whether it's a difficult golf course, plays differently from the front tee or the back tee. All these come into your slope rating. The position of hazards on the golf course, the position of bunkers, the green speeds. All these are matters that are taken into account when you are talking about a slope rating. So therefore, there's nothing as far as the rules are concerned in designing what it should be when you're talking about course rating. Yes, your second part of the question about taking relief from dogs and bunkers. There is an introduction which says that again it has to be covered by a local rule in a tournament. If it is covered by a local rule that your ball lies in a dog footprint, you can get free relief. The same is the case with burrowing animal holes. In fact, in the new rules of golf, the word burrowing has been removed. It's just animal holes now.
As of now, we don't have any questions. You can carry on the demonstration which you are giving to us.
Okay, so we get back to the course, and there are, like I told you, there are several types of defined objects and conditions on the golf course. Things that you can move out of the way and continue play, or situations wherein you move your ball away and then play. It is important to know the areas of the course where your ball lies in, because when your ball lies in, let's say, two different areas, it's touching a part of the penalty area and also touching a part of the general area. Where is the ball lying? Now, depending on where the ball is lying, the applicable rule comes into play as to what you can do, what you cannot do. Whether you can take, get into a free relief situation, or you play the ball as it lies. In any case, now, since I'm talking about penalty areas and a general area, in a penalty area, you can do whatever you're doing in the general area. So therefore, there's no issue. But just for clarity's sake, if you're you must be sure as to where your ball is lying, which part of the course is it, whether it's touching the putting green, then can I play from the putting green? If your ball is, not on the putting green, and if you think it's lying on the putting green and you play it from there, should not be a problem. If your ball is on the putting green, you know that you will incur a 2-stroke penalty if your ball is on the wrong putting green, from which play is prohibited. So it's very careful to know where is your ball lying. We know that the central elements of every competition is a match play and a stroke play. There are two very, very different issues as far as the rulings are concerned in both match play and stroke play. The requirements are very, very different. So the ruling bodies tell you very, very significantly, very, very clearly that don't try and combine the two, because, there are a lot of issues in match play which differ from stroke play. And first of all, in match play, you're just playing, it's either 2 versus 2, 1 versus 1, one side versus another side. Whereas in stroke play, you're playing as a group, but you're competing with 150 other people playing on the golf course. And you've got to take the interests of those 150 or people playing in different areas of the golf course to ensure that you are not taking any undue advantage, which could, result in some kind of advantage to you and a big disadvantage to the others. So that is the basic, situation in match play. See, what happens in match play is that you can see what the other person is doing. You can overlook, a breach of a rule, saying, yeah, it doesn't matter to me, which is okay, because you're playing 1 versus 1. But these things can matter to you when you're playing the rest of the field, where you cannot see the other player doing what he's doing, and you've got to protect your own rights on the golf course. The stroke play, again, has a lot of different requirements. You have a scorecard. The scorecards have to be certified that the scores entered have been absolutely correct. There are no issues on that front. So you've got to check your score after every hole. Fulfill your role as a marker. A marker has responsibilities, So you've got to check out with your fellow players to what he has scored for a hole. You might have missed out on a penalty. And these are small unwritten issues, but you must check out and make sure that you have a correct scorecard submitted at the end of the round. Failure to do so would give you other issues. All players have to be treated equal under the rules, okay? So everybody has his own way of getting over them, and it's your duty to make sure that things are done absolutely the right way. That's the importance of, taking your time in the scoring area, check out what's happening. Go through it slowly, but do it for sure. Rule 4 covers the player's equipment. We all know that the maximum number of clubs that a player can carry during a round is limited to 14 clubs. The rule also tells us now that in the process of playing the game, should you damage a club in anger, you can no longer replace the club. You continue the same broken club, which would be rendered as confirming till the end of that round. You are not allowed to change that club. This was permitted earlier. This was not permitted earlier. And you just continue using the same thing as far as the player's equipment is concerned. Now, otherwise, we know that the player's equipment, it must comprise of confirming clubs and golf balls. In some of the tournaments, we have the one ball condition, which is in effect. Therefore, you must know the ball that you are, whether the one ball condition is there in effect for that particular game, that particular event. Otherwise, you could end up with penalties for, silly mistakes, which you might commit. So we have covered in the first session the fundamentals of the game, the player conduct and the rules, the course, the competition, and the player's equipment that he's going to use while he is on the course. The fifth portion of this section covers playing the round. Playing the round is, like I told you, the word stipulated has gone away. It no more is a stipulated round. It's just a round of golf, and it tells you where the round begins, where it ends. That's how you have these shotgun starts. Have you heard of these shotgun starts? When everybody tees off from multiple tees in the morning, just to avoid overcrowding and to get people back into the clubhouse well in time. And then what happens when play has been suspended or resumed because of various reasons such as weather. All these things come in when you are playing the round. Again, when you're playing the round, you start each round in time. There are penalties which are applicable if you come late for the round. There are penalties which occur if you start the round earlier than you're supposed to start. And there are penalties if you start the round much later than when you start. You want to play continuously at a prompt pace of play. Prompt pace of play is the most important phrase out here. Keep it going and always take care, of course. We have another small little change out here as far as the rules are concerned. The rules encourage you to play out of turn, both in stroke play and in match play. Again, aimed totally at improving pace of play. This is something that should be encouraged. It's not against the rules if you play at a faster pace and play out of turn in stroke play. In match play, since it is 1 versus 1, there is no harm in asking your partner if I can play ahead of you. If the partner agrees, it's fine, in which case he cannot recall your stroke. Otherwise, you'll have to just wait for him to play and then carry on in the round. The start of a hole is what the teeing area is all about. You start your stroke from the teeing area, and then a progression of strokes. You put your ball into the hole. It could be one shot, it could be a series of shots. And again, like I told you some time back earlier, the requirement to use the same ball, same make of ball exists right through the round. So if you're not able to complete that particular hole with the same ball, then you could have penalties imposed on you. But it should be a confirming ball that you play with if such a condition has not been mentioned. I spoke to you about the order of play, both in match play and in stroke play. And normally, the person who's furthest away plays first, and the lowest score has the honor on the next teeing ground. The ball used in play of a hole is what one should be pretty conversant with. If you change the ball, you can have penalties unless the rules are applicable. For example, you've lost the ball, a ball is lying in a penalty area, you're not able to, find your ball. In such cases, your ball is being picked up in outside influence, and depending on the various situations that you are in, you may be able to substitute a ball under the rules. Otherwise, you hold out with the ball with which you started from the teeing ground. There is a penalty, of course, for playing a wrong ball, and there is a penalty again for substituting a ball when such substitution is not allowed. You have to make sure that you're proceeding under the correct rule. And we have one more a big change as far as the rules are concerned. There were very, very limited occasions when you could substitute a ball in the earlier rules of 2018. Now, under the new rules of 2019, you can substitute a ball almost at any time, except, I repeat this, except when you are replacing a ball on a particular spot. If you're going to replace the ball on a spot, don't substitute. If you're going to take free relief or a penalty relief from any situation, go ahead, change the ball and head it. There's no issues, no penalties. The order of play when playing a ball, I told you, furthest from the hole is the first to play. And the order of play in a match play, it can just, depending on what kind of a situation the match is, you can proceed accordingly. Any questions on this?
We have four, five questions. So
yeah.
Should I tell you?
How many questions do you have?
5 questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Can you please elaborate on the OB and lost ball rule?
All right. Okay. Actually, what I would really suggest is, instead of saying elaborate on the OB and the lost ball rule, the procedure is very much similar. But I thought that we would attack these kind of situations when we come to the topic of the penalty rule. When we have the OB and the unplayable ball. These are all penalty situations. So let's get to this situation when we come to that situation. Okay. Don't jump the gun.
Okay. So the next question is, what are the types of drop area when the ball goes in the water hazard?
This is again a situation of a penalty drop. You can either play the ball as it lies. And a very, very important rule as far as the dropping is concerned. Dropping, is a full session by itself. And the nearest point of relief, there's something you must know, 2 things. First thing is the nearest point of relief, point of entry into the penalty area, and then your relief situation depends upon that point of entry and the nature of the particular penalty area that you're playing from. If it is red, you've got that option of 2 club lengths within which to drop your ball. 2 club lengths is the area within which you're going to drop a ball. And when you drop a ball, the club length has gone now. The word club length no longer exists with the club which you want to play and all that. It's the longest club in your bag other than a putter, right? So you take the longest club in your bag, you have that quarter moon within which, that's your area within which you're going to drop a ball. If it happens to be in a lateral area, that is defined by red stakes or red lines. If it's going to be a yellow stake or a yellow line, then you have the option of keeping the flag, the point of entry into which the ball entered, and go back as much as you want and do the same thing again. Here, instead of a quarter moon, you might have a half moon within which to drop a ball, because here the area is much bigger. You have that much bigger area you have within which to drop a ball.
What do I do if a bird takes my ball and throws the ball into the tank?
Yeah, first of all, you got to be sure that a bird is an outside influence, right? The bird has taken the ball away. Somebody must have seen it, taking the ball away. Once this has been established that a crow has taken the ball away, then you should know the spot from where the crow took the ball away. Now, this is obviously not possible for you to know the spot where the crow took the ball away from. Therefore, remember this: always estimate the place where your ball would likely have come to rest. Estimate the place, okay? It could be a little here, a little there, maybe a club length away, and place your ball within that area. Always place your ball, never drop. estimate the place your ball, and continue play.
Can a player ground his club in the bunker?
No, you cannot ground your club in a bunker. A bunker differs from a penalty area. You cannot ground your club in a bunker, but in a penalty area, which is marked by either red or yellow, you can ground your club.
Any time limit for gauging a putting line? Often a vexing issue for the following foursome.
Sorry, I didn't get that question.
Yeah, any time limit for gauging a putting line? Is there any time limit?
The only time limit is that you got to play your shot within 40 seconds. This includes hitting your line from, all around the hole, talking to your caddy, having your water, putting on your cap, fixing your buttons, tying your shoelace, putting on your gloves, tying your gloves, looking around. 40 seconds is what you have. We allow a 10% allowance. Therefore, if you're the first to play, it's 40 plus 4 seconds, 44 seconds you must play. And if you're the second to play, it's again in 40 seconds. So you're reading your line, getting help from the caddies, getting all that you want, cleaning your ball, replacing it, lifting it. All this has to be done within 40 seconds, assuming that, you don't have any other impediments on your line of putt, such as, loose impediments or any such thing lying on the golf course, on your line of play. If they exist, you can remove them. We will give you that much more time. The rules give you that much more time to remove all that out of play and then play. Once you're absolutely clear, 40 seconds is the target.
As of now, we don't have any questions. So, sir, you can carry on.
Okay. Right. Therefore, now when we come to the next purpose statement of ball search, finding and identifying a ball, I told you right in the beginning that now if you're going to identify a ball, you need not inform your fellow competitor that this is what you're going to do, but you must follow the procedure. You must mark the position of the ball, know exactly where the ball was so that you can replace it at the exact spot. There is no penalty. I repeat, there is no penalty if in the process of searching for a ball, you accidentally cause the ball to move, right? In such a situation, you must always replace the ball where you think it would have been and continue play from there. This is what I meant when you say, you've got to play the course as it is found and play the ball as it lies. You must be very sure that, when your ball is in a trouble area, you don't do things to improve the lie of your ball, such as, moving away fixed objects. Objects, when I say fixed objects, I mean fixed living plants. You don't braid them together, move them out of the way so that you have an easier shot to play. These things will incur a penalty. Now, I told you some time back, improving your line of play. If you move an out-of-bounds stake, which is fixed, you're able to put it back. It's not a problem as long as you put it back and you play the shot. Now, if you move a plant, the plant breaks, right? There's no way you want to put that plant back into the way it was, however, whatever the situation is. Therefore, you will always incur a penalty in such situations. There are situations wherein you can, be exempted from penalty. There will be other situations where you will not be exempted from penalty. So you must understand that you must play the ball as it lies. Whenever you're lifting a ball that has to be replaced, always mark the position of the ball. And if a ball is moved, make sure what caused the movement of the ball. Did you cause the ball to move? If you have caused the ball to move, you incur a penalty, replace the ball. If you have not caused the ball to move and it's moved on its own due to natural causes, then you play the ball as it lies. Okay? Now, you have to find out, you've got to make sure don't jump to conclusions and say, yeah, this is what has happened, that's what has happened. You must know what has happened, and this is where the involvement of your fellow competitors come in. Find out, use the best maximum judgment that you can to find out exactly as to what happened to the ball, and then proceed. Nobody likes a game of golf much better than the way it is played in an honest way if you can do all these things that I just spoke to you about. Now, Rule 10 covers the question of preparing for and making a stroke, advice, and caddies. This is what the gentleman asked me some time back about alignment. I told you alignment is not allowed. And in fact, we have a new development which came in a couple of months back, and we received an amendment from the ruling bodies. Then they found out that some of the bigger players had incurred a penalty when the caddies aligned themselves behind the ball. A new amendment came in, and this amendment is that, till the player is ready to play a shot, which means ready to take his stance. When he's taken his stance and preparing himself for the stroke, that's where the caddy's got to step away. The moment the player has, got to the ball, put his feet in stance to make the shot, step away. Otherwise, you will incur a penalty. That alignment up to that stage is allowed. What happens on the putting green? On the putting green, the player stands behind. They are both allowed to read the line of play. The player is on the ball with his stance, right? The player is on the ball with the putter in place, with his feet in place, ready to play the ball. The caddy is still behind the ball, telling the player to either move his leg or move his body or move the putter. The caddy does that. The player does that. Does what the caddy says, and then the player plays the shot after the caddy has left. The player would incur a penalty. That is not permitted. Now, if you just recollect whatever I told you, okay, that is on the putting green. The player's aligned himself. He is ready to play his stroke on the putting green. He's got his ball in position. He's got his body in position. He's got his stance in position. Caddy has moved away. He's not played the ball as yet. Right? Caddy has told him his line. Now, if the player steps away from the ball and then gets back into the same position as to what he was in earlier, that is perfectly fine and is allowed. There will be no penalty, and the ball is in play once he strikes that ball. There's no issues. This is the exception on the putting green, and this is the exception to the new change as far as the interpretations are concerned.
Sir, just to interrupt you a little bit, there's a related topic question on this. Can the line be given from the front?
As of now, you give ruling from the front. There has been no issues. The ruling bodies have not clarified that matter as to whether it's prohibited or not. So as of now, I would say yes.
Okay, sir, you can carry on.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So preparing for and making a stroke is something that I just spoke to you about. Again, the same thing: alignment, making a stroke. Caddy must step away. No help. And what is a stroke? A stroke is made by fairly striking at the ball, and now there is no penalty for a double touch. In case you make a double touch in the process of striking your ball, there is no penalty, and it's just a shot that is going to count. When you're making a stroke, the fundamental challenge of the game and of the player is to make sure that you're freely swinging a club, and you've got your aim, you've got your direction, you know everything what you're supposed to do, and you're supposed to do all these things without anchoring the club. Therefore, there is no question of anchoring your club. That's part of the rules anymore. Advice and help is limited, and same as the case with the case of caddies. The caddies have a limited function as far as what they are responsible for on the golf course. You are responsible for the action of your caddies. So you can't say, I told my caddy and he did this and he did that. You will incur the penalty of what your caddy did. You can't just take away that blame from your shoulders and put it onto that of the caddies. For example, lifting a ball anywhere on the golf course other than on the putting green. Now again, other than on the putting green is the question of just setting the improving on the pace of play. If you find that a player's hit his ball to the green and they're walking to the green, the caddy can go up ahead, mark the position of the ball, and lift it. Right? He can mark the position of the ball, lift the ball. He cannot do this on any other part of the golf course other than on the putting green. This is not permitted under the rules, so he cannot do that. Again, so it's very, very important that the player is responsible for the action of the caddies. Now, earlier in the 2018 rules, there always used to be a penalty for if a ball in motion struck you, or your caddy, or your opponent, or any other outside influence on the golf course. In the case of an outside influence, there was no penalty. You play the ball as it lies. This rule has now been extended to all other factors, that is your caddy, your player, you yourself. If you hit a ball and the ball hits a tree and then on the rebound hits you, there is no penalty. You got to play the ball as it lies and it's just carry on. So there is, if at all it does happen, you just play the ball as it lies. There is no question of, replaying the shot. Okay. Now, any questions on this?
No, sir. You can carry on.
Okay. Right. Now we can do a little more the interesting areas that of the bunkers, and we had that question about a burrowing animal hole in a bunker. One of the important topics which I spoke to right in the beginning, that of rule 1, was your etiquettes on the golf course. You must learn how to take care of the golf course. Okay. It's so embarrassing at times when people like me, we work very, very closely with the greenkeepers on the golf course. We tell them what we want the golf course to play, how it should play, what are our requirements. And they put their heart and soul into it and give us a golf course that's fit for play. When we leave the golf course, either after a practice round or after a match, or you got to go and see it, it's terrible. It's because we don't take care of the golf course. So the rules have now been eased a little in the sense that if your ball happens to be in a bunker, players are encouraged to take care of the golf course. And this take care of the golf course is not to test the condition of the bunker, but if you find that the player ahead of you has not raked his bunker properly, and if the ball is in a bunker and not on your line of play, you can go and repair that bunker, even with your ball in the bunker, right? So you can go and rake the bunker, get it back into shape, and this is all for taking care of the golf course. Otherwise, bunkers, they consist of sand, and it's intended to test the ability of a player in executing his skills to play bunker shots, which could be easy for some, which could be difficult for others. You are also allowed to remove loose impediments in a bunker. This was something which was not permitted earlier. And again, I do not wish to deviate away from our basic structure and overview of the rules. So I will not talk much more in detail about bunkers and the penalty areas. But care must be taken that, especially when you are anything in front of, behind your ball in a bunker, it must not be touched. And no practice swings and touching the sand when your ball is in a bunker. Now, on the putting greens, like I told you earlier, putting green is the only situation wherein you're playing a ball, rolling it
along.
Sorry
to interrupt you. We have a couple of questions related to putting greens. So
Yeah.
can I tell you those questions?
Why don't you just hear me out? Because I've not even covered the putting green yet.
Okay, sure. Carry on, sir.
Yeah, I'm just talking about the putting greens now.
Okay.
And yeah, there any other specific questions after this? You're more than welcome.
Sure, sir.
Okay. So you're going to roll the putter along the ground, okay? And earlier, the new changes that have come from 2019 again with a due emphasis on pace of play is you can leave the flag stick in the hole. It was a 2-shot penalty earlier if not done it. Now the ball can strike the flag stick when you're putting. When I say you can, there's a 2-shot penalty off the flag stick. I mean, leaving the flag stick and then putting from the green with the flag stick in. It's now permitted. You can leave the flag stick the way you want it, or you can have it attended. If you do not wish to, there will be no penalty. You can repair spike marks. Spike marks was something which was not there earlier, and it was a woe of every golfer that people ahead were not walking properly, old or young, scratching their boots, and the surface of the putting green is gone. You can repair anything which is very, very visible as a spike mark or dog marks or animal hooves. These happen pretty frequently on golf courses. If we have any such issue, they can be repaired. And any damage on a putting green can be repaired now, other than normal damage, which is there for maintenance purposes. If the damage is too big, you can, of course, always refer to the Greens Committee, who will be more than willing to help you. Minor damages such as this can be repaired by the player himself. Again, on the putting green, there are certain actions which you are allowed to do. You're allowed to lift, clean, and replace a ball on the putting green. You can repair damage. This is the only area, the putting green, where you can remove sand and soil on your line of play. If you remove sand and soil anywhere else other than on the putting green, you will incur a penalty. You're not allowed to do it anywhere except on the putting green. So this is one area wherein sand and soil are considered as loose impediments and can be moved. Okay.
I guess we have few questions related to putting greens. So should I tell you now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. What about unintentional touch of the ball during practice swing prior to putting?
There is no penalty for accidentally causing a ball or a ball marker to move on the putting green. You will replace the ball and play. There is no penalty.
Okay. A player ball lies just off the putting green and the sand lies on the putting green. The hole, what's the ruling?
If he removes the sand, which is on his line of play on the putting green, but his ball is not on the putting green, you have to just see exactly where the ball lies. The ball is sand on the putting green can be moved.
There is another question. Should I tell you right now, or yeah? It's a question is that if a tee that is 4.5 inches long, so does it conform to the rules?
Up to 4.5 inches is fine, or I think it's 4.25 inches. Anything more is a DQ.
Okay, thank you, sir. You can carry on, sir.
We will. My phone is getting heated up again. Okay. Rule,
fifth section. Yeah, you can move to the.
Yeah, Rule 17. The next section covers that of lifting, dropping, placing, playing from the wrong place. And the procedures for dropping a ball now is totally changed. Putting a ball back into place, and then when you let the ball go, that's when the ball is in play. But the entire process, has changed from what it used to be earlier. Again, it's a question of saving time. You have a much larger area within which to drop your ball, and you will drop a ball always from knee height, right? Anything below that would not be right. Anything above that would not be right. To correct mistakes, you always have an issue wherein mistakes can be corrected if the shot is not being played. Otherwise, if a ball dropped in a wrong way but from the right place, you incur a penalty. If you drop a ball in the wrong place and then play it from there, you will incur a penalty again, right? So you've got to make sure that you play the ball dropped in the correct way and in the right place, so that there is no penalty which you will incur during the process of your round. Now, whenever you lift a ball from any given situation, when we are supposed to place the ball back, you must always place the ball back in its right position. If you don't do that, you will again incur a penalty. Remember that in golf, when you're placing a ball, it's got to be exact, right? And when I say exact, an inch here, an inch there, or a club here or a club there is the same. Wrong place is the wrong place. Penalties are applicable. That's the procedure now for taking relief, the relief area. And what I really intend doing, maybe with a little bit of discussion with Indrajit and people, I would like to do one more session wherein all these issues can be thrashed out, the exact dropping procedures, and dropping by itself calls for one full session, and we could cover it then. Am I clear?
Yes, sir. Will you carry on? We don't have any questions as of
No
now.
further questions? Okay. Now we know that there's a relief from loose impediments and movable obstructions, just like it was earlier. These are situations where you have a free relief from both the loose impediments and movable obstructions. Now, only in the case of loose impediments, we have that extra option that you can remove loose impediments from bunkers and penalty areas. Now, the rules have been relaxed so much as far as the penalty areas are concerned under Rule 17 that you can do what you do in a general area in the penalty area. Right? I hope you're getting what I'm saying. That's why I said the importance of definitions. General area is a normal area of the golf course where you ground your club, you remove loose impediments, and then play a ball. You can do all these things, exactly the same things, in a penalty area, whether be it red or be it yellow. Okay. The only thing about the question of free relief when you're moving loose impediments is the old rule is still there. It does not change. If in the process of removing loose impediments, you cause your ball to move, there is a penalty, and you will replace the ball back with a one shot. Okay. Now, the question of another free relief situation from abnormal ground conditions and dangerous animal conditions, embedded ball. These are all covered under the abnormal course conditions from which free relief is allowed. And one issue that comes to me very, very frequently, there are two issues, in fact, which I must talk about. One is the question of ants and antlers on the golf course, especially in India. We seem to have a lot of them all over the place. And another one is that of pits, sapling pits, tree basins. Tree basins, by the rules of golf, are not relief. You got to play the ball as it lies. They are there for a reason. Therefore, from such situations, if you wish to give free relief, they must be marked very, very clearly, and perhaps talk to the Greens Committee and then find out whether relief is allowed or not allowed, and then spell it out very, very clearly in the local rules as to what should be done as far as these situations are concerned. If this is not done, then it becomes very, very difficult to give relief. You'll find situations where there is one ant. You'll find situations where there's a swarm of ants. And as far as the rule is concerned, you will get relief from ants only if they are dangerous to you. We don't find these situations which are pretty dangerous here in India, because if you go by the definition of what a dangerous ant is, I'm told it's found only in Africa, and it's a big black ant. You get relief from bull ants, okay? But bull ants are, not that they're not found here. They very rarely come into play on a golf course, but there are a lot of red ants for which relief could be granted. And ant mounds and casts, there are plenty again from which relief can be given. But these areas should be marked, and relief probably denied if you just find a stray ant here or there. Samit,
Yes, sir.
these in short are the general overall overview of the fundamental changes and rules of golf in 2019. Okay. And penalty areas, etc., I spoke to you about sometime earlier, and I think we already overrun our time.
Okay.
Do let me know. Please feel free to ask all the viewers to ask me any questions. Send it by email to you or to me, and then we can have their questions answered.
Okay. Thank you for joining this session. Thank you very much, sir. I'm requesting all the participants, if you have any question, you can write here. Sir is here. Should I close?
Yeah, they can either write to you or they can write to me, and and then we can do the leave. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.